Welcome to Bible Stories with Leighton. Today we're going to continue the story of Samson. So last time we talked about how he had a riddle, and then his first wife, she tells the Philistines the answer to the riddle, and he gets mad. So after that, he goes and kills the people that figured out the riddle and used his wife.
And when the Philistines got him on the chain,
So let me get to that point. So
Okay.
he kills all the 30 people involved in knowing the riddle by tricking him through his wife. Then after he kills them, his wife gets taken away from him by her dad, and her dad said that supposedly he thought Samson was mad at her and didn't want to be with her anymore. So Samson goes to see her and gets really mad because they wouldn't let him. So guess what he does? He takes a bunch of foxes, ties them together, lights them on fire, and lets them burn up all the Philistines' corn and their vineyard with all their fruit trees and all their olive trees. And they get super mad. And they said, why did he do that? And it's because they found out that his wife got given away to somebody else. And so you know what those evil Philistines did? They went and took his wife and the dad of his wife and burned them.
What?
That's awful. So then later in the story, he does some pretty...
Was the dad good, or was he on the Philistine?
He was a Philistine as well.
So that's a good thing.
That the bad guys were gone. And
Yes.
But the bad guys burned other bad guys. That's not necessarily good, but shouldn't be surprising either, right?
Yeah.
So then he does some other pretty amazing feats of strength. Like he grabs the doors of a gate and takes them up the top of the hill. And he takes out some more Philistines with a jawbone of a donkey.
He's very strong.
He's extremely strong. And the end of the story is pretty cool. And this is a story that at least most people know. So he has a new wife called Delilah, and he loves her a lot. But she gets paid by the Philistines to figure out what is his strength.
Yeah.
And so she says, if you figure out what his strengths are, then we'll pay you. She is going to get money if she figures out what is the weakness to his strength, or how does he get his strength. So first he tells her one thing: if you tie me up a certain way, then I will not be able to get out. And then she waits for him to sleep and ties him up. And then she says, the Philistines are coming, the Philistines are coming. And then he breaks through.
Pew, and they got chipped.
Yep. So then she's like, why have you disrespected me? I thought you loved me, Samson. Tell me, how are you getting all your strength? How can we bind you up? And he says, well, if you tie me up this other way, then it'll happen. So again, she waits till he falls asleep, ties him up that way, and she says, the Philistines are coming, the Philistines are coming. And he breaks it all off. And so this happens 3 times, and he is not telling her the truth because he doesn't want to say what it is. And finally, she nags him so long. Tell me, Samson, what is the weakness? Where do you get all your strength from, Samson? And it says that he is so annoyed. It bothers him so much that he finally tells her.
Okay, stop.
Does she sound like a good wife? Yeah, definitely not. So, does she sound like a good wife?
No.
Yeah, she doesn't either. I don't think so. It sounds like he doesn't really have any good wives, really.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he tells her, no one has cut the 7 long dreads on my head, and that is the key to my strength. He had made a Nazirite vow. And so what happens that night?
Why did he get annoyed?
He was getting annoyed by her just nagging and whining and complaining.
Why couldn't he tell her to say okay, and then he could not tell her the truth, and then he could pretend like it doesn't work, and then he won't have to get chained and stuff.
Well, I don't really know. I don't know if he already knew she was gonna tell. He already had a wife before her that told the riddle, so maybe he just didn't trust her. And rightfully so. She ends up cutting his hair and while he's sleeping, and then they bind him up, and he tried to break out, and he lost all his strength that God gave him. And then they did what to his eyes?
They black him out.
So now he's blind, and they put him in prison. And then later they're having a giant party in this big temple. And this temple is the temple of Dagon, the fish god, the fake god, just like in the other story we read. they believed in like this weird mermaid fish god type thing. And so they had statues of him and they're having a party and they said, bring out Samson so we can make fun of him. And there was 3,000 people on the roof. And so what did Samson ask?
I don't think the roof could even hold 3,000 people.
It was it's a big building. But this building happened to have 2 pillars in the middle that held up. They're like the big giant poles that hold up the roof. So these 2 giant poles that held up all the weight of the building, he asked if they would let him lean on the poles. And he prayed to God, give me strength that I could die here and get rid of all of these Philistines. And so what does God do for him? Gives him the strength. And so what does he do after that?
He does.
He pulls on the pillars until they break.
And they go pew.
And then everything crumbles. And the Bible says that he killed more Philistines in his death that day than he had killed in his whole lifetime. And he ruled and judged over all the people of Israel, the Israelites, for 20 years.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Thank you for watching Bible Stories with Layton.
Bye.